Hello, this is Larry Tentarelli with a brief members video for Blue Chip Daily Trend Report. Today is June 9th, 2021. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover about 20 higher growth, more speculative stocks that have been in pretty steep downtrends, but they've started to flatten out. There's a lot of member interest in a few of these stocks. So I wanted to touch base and just give a brief technical view before we get started. Just to cover the disclaimer, which says that everything in the video is for informational purposes only. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell any securities, and it's not investment advice. So before we get started, I will say that this group of charts is much more volatile. It's much higher risk. There's very high potential upside, but there's also very high risk potential. And we can see, just taking a look at this chart, 76 to 85, it looks like this stock lost 30% of its value in 4 days. So to give you an idea, this is a very high beta group. This is for members who are specifically looking for possible turnaround ideas in some higher growth stocks. So we'll go through the charts quickly. So AI, C3 AI, long story short, most of these are going to be very steep downtrends. But what we're going to notice is the downtrend has started to flatten out. The 50-day moving average has started to flatten out, which is constructive. The 20-day is starting to turn up, and it's pending a 50-day cross. So the key support levels I'd look for: 55 in the near term, 50 is a major support level. So if I were looking at this stock, so I'm not looking at this stock right now. I've got a few of the higher beta stocks. So I've got Tesla, I've got NVIDIA, I'm looking at C, I'm looking at the clean energy ETF. I've got Cloudflare high on the screen, but some of these, I'm not negative on these stocks per se, but some of these are too far down in their charts for me, at least right now. But if they turn around, it could offer pretty good upside. But once again, this is for members that are specifically interested in and aware of the volatility and the risk that goes with these stocks. And I will say, the CPI comes out tomorrow, Thursday at 8:30 a.m. And I continue to think that what happens with Treasury yields in the near term will have a lot of impact on these stocks. So if the CPI comes in and it's moderate and Treasury yields stay subdued around this 1.50 level, then I think that these growth stocks could continue to do well. If for some reason CPI comes in higher than expected, or there's some issue and bond yields pick up, then there could be, a sharp pullback. So it's important to understand these are high potential reward. They're also high risk, as we can see, once again, a 30% drawdown in 4 days. So with that out of the way, I'll go further into the chart. So the genomics ETF, this is another one that the 50-day has started to try to flatten out. 20-day is trying to turn up. So it's trying to stabilize here. $75 is the first key level, and then 72 below that. ARK-K, so $100 is the key level to hold here. 50-day trying to flatten out, 20-day starting to turn up. So when the 50-day flattens out, that is very constructive. When the 20-day turns up, that's constructive as well. And then one key thing, and I'll just, so I don't over repeat myself, if for some reason bond yields pick up, then there's a good expectation these stocks could have a sharp pullback like they did last month. But overall, the intermediate term trend in a lot of these stocks has been improving. Coupa Software, I don't have any levels on that. That's in way too steep of a downtrend for me to put anything on that chart. CRISPR Therapeutics in the biotechnology genomic space. So once again, 50-day flattening out, 20-day trying to turn up. The downtrend is flattened out over the past few months. 105 is the first key level, and then 95 would be the final level below that. CrowdStrike is one of the more constructive charts. So we've had CrowdStrike on the list recently. So CrowdStrike is constructive right where it is. DoorDash is another steep downtrend. So DoorDash lost about 50%. It's trying to stabilize here. 50-day has flattened. 20-day is turned up, so it's still stuck under the 100-day. But 120 is the first level that I'd want to see that hold, and then 110 would be the major level below that. Datadog, don't have any real levels here in the software, and this could do fine, but in the software group, I think that CrowdStrike, Cloudflare, a few of those stocks are set up better. So neutral really overall. ENPH in the solar space, this was a big performer, started to unwind. Now the solar space is starting to improve. So 50-day trying to flatten out, 20-day has started to turn up its testing just over the 200-day moving average. 120 and 110 are support levels. I'm looking more at the clean energy ETF. ENPH is kind of volatile for my stops, but we'll see. Fastly really isn't on my radar screen. It's too far down on the chart. Fastly could do fine. And just because I say these stocks aren't on my radar screen, if these growth stocks continue to recover, and I posted on ARK-K last month when the daily RSI hit 28 that most of those stocks were oversold and there could be a sharp recovery in the growth stocks and a lot of short covering as well. But in either case, Fastly could do just fine, but I don't have any real levels on it. Page 2 is Cloudflare. So that's one of the more constructive charts. This has been on the high beta list for a few weeks now. And overall that I would rather be in a chart like this than the Coupa software chart. NEO, another clean energy name. So back over the 200-day. 200-day is rising, 50 days turned up, 20 days turned up. This is all flattened out. I'd want to see that hold over 34, but this has started to emerge into a near-term uptrend. Palantir, a lot of member interest in that. $20 is the key level. That's been consolidating for a while, but $20 is the level for Palantir to hold. QClean, so I've got a lot of energy in this ETF. And I'm looking very closely at it so we can see 50 days flattened out, 20 days turned up, consolidating. It's over the 200-day, it's over the 50-day, 57.50 and 52.50 are the key levels. Clean energy, this is a very high growth, but it's also a very speculative industry. But once it starts to go, it can produce nice gains. So this is a very high on my potential buy list. QuantumScape, not so high on my buy. So this is a very speculative stock. I don't think they have any sales off the top of my head, but I could be wrong. But in either case, we can see this stock really got taken down pretty hard. So all the moving, it's got a 200-day moving average, 50 days still down, 20 days trying to flatten out. 25 is the key level. This is a much, much more speculative, especially if they don't have any sales, which I don't think they do, or I think they've got very little sales. Sunrun in the solar space, this is a little bit further down on the charts as well, still well under the 200-day. 50-day is still declining. So, but if the solar group picks up, the rising tide often lifts all ships. 37.50 would be the level for that to hold. C is one of the top ideas. This has been on the top 25 list for a few weeks, and this is I'm much more inclined to get involved with charts like this than some of these other charts. But some of these other charts, they could have some room to the upside. So Snowflake, this is a very well followed stock. So this was in a major downtrend, 429 to 184. But the 50-day is turned up. The 20-day has crossed the 50-day. That's turned up as well. It's over the 100-day moving average for the first time or second time going back to February, but the first real cycle. So overall, if I had this or if I was looking at it, 220 and 200 are the key levels. This stock could have, if growth continues back to the upside, this stock could have some room to go. But this one is not so much on my radar screen right now, not negative on it whatsoever. And we can see that the chart, especially there is a lot of support in that 200, 215, 220, in this entire cluster, there's a lot of support. Teladoc, just no interest and no real levels. That chart is too far down for me. Once again, it could do just great, but it's just too far down for me. Tesla, I've got a position here, 550 is the level that it needs to hold. That's a difficult chart right now in Tesla, and it's probably going to need growth stocks to perform well. Unity Software, a lot of interest in this, just like Snowflake. I had a position and was fortunate to get out of it somewhere in this area before this gap down. But in either case, 50-day looks like it's trying to turn up. The 20-day is turned up. It's been consolidating with the group. 80 to 85 are the key levels for that to hold, and that's it. So I hope this was of value. Once again, as I said, this video is for, these are not the standard blue chip daily stocks or charts down here. Now, see NVIDIA, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, things like that, Facebook that are up here. Those are my core focus, but I am looking at the solar group and maybe a few other of these charts. So I appreciate everyone's time, and I'll get this posted shortly. Thank you.